Aditya, Pavail, Namit, and Shreya, thank you so much for joining me on this panel discussion that we're having today on 2020, reflecting back on the year. And you all have contributed quite a lot towards the year and the sort of entertainment that we had consumed. Of course, there have been a few other names who have sadly not been able to join us as well today. But I think I just wanted to kind of open up, and I would like to ask you all one by one. How rewarding has it been for you all as actors to explore the digital space, or perhaps roles which have been intrinsically different to ones you've done before? Pavel, I think we'll start with you.
So my film didn't actually release first on the OTT. It released first in theaters, and disappointingly, we had to cut it short for 2 weeks, and then because the lockdown started, it was very disappointing the first week, and but a week later when I realized it's not just me and it's the whole world going through this, uh, I kind of made peace with it, and I was kind of happy that I'm in a better place than you know. Um, but when it released on the OTT, it kind of blew up, and which was damn nice. I don't think uh, a year back it would have been possible for people to watch the film in that those many numbers which they saw on the OTT. Uh, I was just to be honest, was just highs and lows. You felt like after the theater got shut, you felt like this is happening to me. This is only happening to me, and then you kind of realize that you're just a tiny speck in the world,
Yeah.
and the world is much bigger than you. But yeah, I was happy. It was very rewarding, and I'm hoping to start work now very soon so that I can get back on track.
That's great. Namit, what about you?
All of this year, I have been talking to people, and we've been only talking about how it has been revolutionary in terms of OTT and the entertainment that has been served to people on their iPads and mobile phones and other things. But what I keep reminding people that is the fact that the OTT revolution had already started,
Hmm.
and I think the boom sort of came in because of this lockdown, and everyone forced into their little homes, and not having any space to go anywhere. And that's why just all of them sort of just coming to their mobile phones and iPads and laptops for entertainment. And that's why these this these shows that we all were, shows and films that we were part of, that came into the foray,
Right.
that suddenly were given a due status. And also, I think all of us as actors being part of so many different kinds of stories,
Hmm.
and the opportunity to do that. Uh,
Right.
and I was just talking to someone in the afternoon today, and I was saying that 10 years back, I mean, I was really lucky that I was part of Wake Up Said, and then sort of then many things happened. But otherwise, the kind of roles that I would have got would have been that guy in the blue shirt or that guy in the yellow shirt. and
Right.
and now these and these sort of after that, it became like these were roles, these became characters. And now I think these characters have become fleshed out. I think we can feel our space in all these shows, in all these stories, and it's really an exciting time to be alive. And mind you, there is a lot of guilt that I have as well, because each time I come on a platform and say that 2020 was a fantastic year for me, I had all these releases, I feel a pinch. I feel a pinch because humanity has actually gone through a lot at
Yeah.
this point of time. And here I am talking about, oh, there are these great opportunities which are available for actors like us and all of that. But yes, I see all of that, and I see myself differently, and I see myself really lucky.
Lovely. Wow. Very well summarized. Shreya, what about you?
I have a bunch of inappropriate things to say, exactly in the same vein as Namit was saying, because it has been a fantastic year.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying that considering what the world has been going through, but I mean, it actually puts things in perspective. Namit, please tell me if you agree with me. Isn't it sad that the world has to burn for us to like light up?
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. You know, life works out at
Can you
very
guys hear the
strange
trolls
moments
on
in
Twitter
strange
right
ways.
now already trolling you guys? Like, it's gonna
I
happen,
hear-
guys. I can just
No,
hear
but
it.
see,
I can just hear
no, but we are with them. We are with them. We completely understand the crap that we're saying right now because it's very inappropriate and we shouldn't be feeling this. But my goodness, I mean, if it weren't exactly like what Namit said, if it weren't for people being locked down and having all of this access to watching stuff wherever they're watching it from, I don't think we would be here having this conversation with you, Anuj, honestly, or with anybody for that matter. So, you know, my apologies to everybody who's had a shitty year, but, you know, this has been a decent year for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I think, yes, I think you have to kind of separate the two as well, right? Like, I think you can summarize and say that, yes.
Yeah, because I think that, you know, regardless of the pandemic, I mean, when I saw Scam and when I saw Shreya in it, I think you were fantastic. So regardless of any pandemic or lockdown, I think the show would have done wonders either way. So I don't think you have to owe it to the lockdown in any way.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Just to second that, I think, you know, just the work of both Namit and Shreya is, I've always admired. I mean, Namit and I go back a very long way, actually. My first time on stage in a professional play, I was his understudy. And just watching him perform then, right through all the plays he's done, all the work he's done, I mean, you know that this guy is going to explode at some point or another on the scene because he's just amazing. Same with, you know, Shreya. I remember watching your... you used to do these Amazon ads, I think, you know, there were these campaign.
Yeah.
Dude, my dad and I used to rewind those ads to watch your performance. I remember that. Yeah. You know, so you can tell, you know, when somebody is like a really good actor, and it's just, you know, about time. So I second what Pavail is saying, you know, very much so. I think it's just, I suppose, a matter of time, but then, yeah, a pandemic always helps, doesn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
Anuj, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody. My job is done. My day is done. These people have made my day. I'm going to go now. Oh, my face is hot. Like, it's so hot. Like, I'm burning. Thank you so much. I don't know where to look.
But I think even Aditya as well, coming on to you, I mean, it was obviously your debut as well. Well, Bamfaad marked your debut as well. And I know that you kind of made it for like a theatrical release, but then it came on Z5. So how did you feel at that point when your film that was supposed to be your big sort of break into Bollywood kind of released on the OTT platform? How did it feel?
I mean, I was just glad it was coming out, that there was an opportunity, you know, for my work to be seen, to be very honest. And it was also new to me. So, you know, whether it was a theatrical, whether it was a pandemic release, one way or another, it would have been, you know, fascinating and novel all the same. I just, you know, I know that 1 year down the line, we're all probably going to look back very fondly on the times that we promoted our work while sitting in pajamas. That's not going to happen anymore. So, you know,
That's true.
it was just, you know, it was, I felt like, you know, a film of the size, you know, the kind of film we had. I felt that we were kind of lucky in a way also that, you know, we were one of the few that released early on in April. And maybe more people saw it than they would have otherwise, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, you can always speculate, but anyways, it was very exciting, very interesting, and which is great that, you know, people had the time to see it, and, you know, and that people in fact did, yeah.
Exactly. No, definitely. And I think just sort of going on by the sort of topics that you guys raised in the conversation, you know, obviously our definition of entertainment has changed significantly as we've seen works which have become household titles among the content consumption aspect as well. So in what way do you think the pandemic has added more to the entertainment industry? I mean, what would you say are the pros and cons of this?
Well, honestly, I think it has redefined a lot of things. I got a lot of such questions when my show had come out. I mean, I'm talking about Viral when I'd done that. People were talking about, speculating about how this will change the landscape of everything. I personally find prediction a little bit foolish because none of us can say what's coming. We can only make like sort of educated guesses which may or may not fall off the mark. But there are things there are certain things that I've noticed, and I see that with the reception of Scam, especially, mainly because it was on a platform that was relatively new. It had names that not many people knew about. Everything, I mean, it's a relatively talky show. Half the people are speaking in English, and it's a very tech show, like a very technical and a finance heavy show. So there were so many things about the show that wasn't supposed to work, and it did. The audience found their way to a show like that, especially when there's so many things on premium platforms that have been there for a lot more time, with names that have been here for a lot more time. And I feel like so many previously held notions and foundations were shattered with this show. And I feel like that itself is a little bit telling. Again, I'm not going to say the whole landscape has changed, or the fact that things will continue to be on the up and up, for all of us. But at least the trend is somewhat on an upward swing, that maybe people will not rely on, strategies that they were holding to gold standard before. Maybe they will take a risk. Maybe they will take that name who's not a name, but who's actually good at what they're doing, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the camera. So I hope that that's the case. Whether that is the case or not will remain to be seen, honestly.
I kind of agree with Shreya on the point, because I don't think we will know the pros and cons until much later, because every week the situation is changing into something completely different. I think I can't answer this question. I mean, just take it one day at a time and figure out what happened at the end of the day. I think because pros and cons to nahi pata abhi to filhal.
Right.
I don't think so.
What about you, Namit?
I genuinely feel that that the situation is going to change a lot, and it has already changed while we are talking right now. And it's primarily because when people ask me, "Aapka lockdown kaisa raha?" I always say that this question it's really funny for me. But imagine, place yourself 25 years back, and without internet, without mobile phones, without everything, imagine this global calamity if it would have hit humanity. Then what would we have done, really? So I think the point here is that I think the internet and technology, and adding on to that, obviously the entertainment coming via that, has actually helped humanity to live, helped humanity to survive. And the fact that now we have this option of talking to someone who's in UK, and making this available to people for us to listen, for us to be heard, is itself, I think, changed the matter.
And but Namit, this technology was invented 10 years ago. Kuch to
but the fact, this calamity has actually
no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's what I
think.
And I don't think we are going to now change to we might change to something else. Obviously, I mean, predictions, as Shreya said, is really futile in this case. But I think we are already changing, and we are moving towards something else totally. We're really moving towards something else. It might take, I don't know, 25, 30 years, but I think we are in that phase of transition, and it's already happening. And even when we come back to
pajamas, I'm game.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how comfortable this is. There's no tension. You have no idea how much tension is involved when there are like events and you have to go. There are people that you dress you up, and the photos for social media. I cannot tell you what a blessing this is.
This is where it's at.
Let's swap roles.
But Shreya, coming from a person who had no idea that his laptop was there in his cupboard, who existed because of his mobile phone, and messages and WhatsApp messages was the maximum that I actually reached out. I think I've learned a lot, and this is and that's why I feel that I'm living in a completely different world altogether now, and I don't think this reality is going to go yes, it is going to go back to our normal, where we, all of us, we get together and we have discussions and blah, blah, all of that. But I think this is going to stay. This reality is going to stay.
Yeah, it is. It is a very stark reality that we all have to come to terms with. Aditya, as a debutante, what do you feel inspired by the most when sort of making your entry in Indian cinema and Indian entertainment at this point in time?
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that there are so many more kinds of roles available to you, as an actor. You're not just sort of putting on a chiffon sari and dancing in Switzerland. There's a
Hey, I
lot
still want
more
to do that.
No, I mean, I'd be happy to do that. I would have wear a chiffon sari and dance in Switzerland. But my point is, there's a lot more happening. There's different kinds of stories being told.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that's a pandemic thing. I think that's been happening since for a few years now, at least on a wider scale, and that's been happening for 50, 60, 70 years, ever since cinema for mass consumption has been around. But it has become much more sort of prevalent now, and that's always exciting. So yeah, I would say that, I think, to me is definitely one of the sort of brighter things to look forward to.
Yes, and I think also we can unanimously agree that there has definitely been a great shift in the entertainment industry, as well as the pandemic has shown us and 2020 has shown us in general. But what do you think you all as actors will gain from this new change within the Indian entertainment sphere? Aditya, we'll start with you this time, actually.
I guess the same, no? I mean, there's just I mean, like, for me, the possibility for a Bombay-based, Juhu born-bred guy to play, a guy from Allahabad who is, so different from what I am, and just just the opportunity to sort of sink my teeth into that, to be given enough time to sort of prepare for something like that, and to be able to play it out to its fullest without having to compromise on the storytelling, or sort of making it palatable for X and Y, where the storyteller is doing his best to just be honest to the story and to the character. That is what is exciting. That's
Absolutely. Shreya, what about you?
Fear of unemployment. Honestly, but no, it's the idea of, I think I can speak for all of us when I say this. Okay, somebody got the joke a little late. Okay.
Now I'm laughing. Now I'm laughing at Namit laughing now.
No,
okay,
it was I sort of took in the statement, and then it was coming out, and then it came out in spurts. Yeah.
No, I accept it.
Yeah.
No, but I speak for all of us, I think, when I say that I feel like we're kids in a candy store when we're on set, The idea of getting the opportunity to play a character, or to tell a story, to create a world. I mean, I cannot tell you, when I saw my first film, I mean, back in my childhood, when I saw my first film, it was like magic. The idea that there can be something out there that will transport you from wherever you are and make you forget wherever you are, and just take you to this place, and then for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever the duration is, if it's Lagan, it's 3.5 hours. But it's magical. There is no other way of time travel and teleportation for me, and us getting a chance to be a part of that in any way, shape, or form is incredible. So just the idea that we are able to do this, and get the opportunity to play that and get paid for it. And not very well, but that's not important.
Wow.
But it's amazing. It really is. It's a kick every single time. So yeah.
Yep, sounds exactly like journalism, to be very honest. Right, Pavail, what about you?
I think the change, I mean, if I'm being a little more technical, I think the change has happened because of the audience, and because it's come straight to the audience. The audience kind of decides now what they want to see and what they want to, who they want to promote, and all this marketing and promotion, all these things have taken a backseat in some sort of way, because they have a gun in their hand, and if they don't like even 5 minutes of it, they're going to shut it, no matter who you are. I think when that gun is in the right people's hand, right, the audience's hand, I think everybody will need to pull up their pants and do a better job. And if you want to do a better job, you need to I'm guessing, work with people who are as hardworking as they are. So I think that's what has changed, and I think that's a really really good change, and I think I hope we stick to that.
Yes. And Namit, what about you? What is your opinion on this?
Anuj, 5 years back, I was doing a television show called Sumit Samal Lega. Okay,
Ah,
and we were very excited when we made it, and what it would turn out to be, and it was a very different show for television standards at that point
yes.
of time.
Mm,
And we invested like 11 months of our life in it, and we shot. We When we came on air, we had like 75 episodes already canned, and that's how that's how we came in, and the ratings didn't were not very impressive, considering
oh,
that we
yeah.
had spent like seven
But it
eight
doesn't
months
start with
making
K,
the
yaar.
show.
Namit, samjha karo. Has to start with K.
Exactly. So I remember coming back home and talking to my mom about it,
Mm,
and my mom said that you don't worry about it, they will realize it with time that it's a good show, and it's a different kind of a show. It'll take its own sweet time to and people. And as Shreya said, it doesn't start with K, and it doesn't have the regular masala stuff. And she said something very interesting. She said that entertainment now exists in
right.
bottles,
Yes.
and you need
Hmm.
to decide which bottle is yours. And
Right.
then she looked at me and she said, the problem is that that of all the different kinds of entertainment that exists, uh, I don't know which bottle to pick, actually, because there's no bottle for me.
Hmm.
I am not going to watch the K series, the kind of television shows that were coming at that point of time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm interested in the films that are being produced right now. So what is there out there for
Mhm.
me? I think OTT has provided
Yeah.
entertainment for that sector,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's that bottle which exists for people who have been looking for entertainment. And I don't necessarily, I'm not saying that intelligent, it's not I don't want to sort of judge it and say that it's for the intelligent masses, and I really don't want to say that.
It's something
It's
that you
just
enjoy.
absolutely, it's something
Yeah,
that we will enjoy, it's something that we will
yeah.
watch and we will
Mm,
talk about. And the next time we share a set, and we'll be talking about, oh, did you see that? Oh, did you see that? And I think that's what has really brought the community together, and that's what
mhm.
made all of us really excited about this form. Because then you have these actors, then you have all these characters which are being offered, and then suddenly it becomes a road without a destination. And you're like, okay, it's
Mm.
an open road and I'm out there. Hey, so what's available now? So
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
really become very exciting. Yeah.
I agree. No, I think it definitely has become exciting, and I think 2020 also proved that it's not about star quality, but more about a package of a content which sort of drives it to success, so to speak. But having said that, though, the insider outsider debate is always there, no matter what happens. We just can't escape it, and Pavel is literally like covering his face as I mentioned that. But don't worry, I'm not going to kind of
Done with this question now.
yeah,
I'm
but
done
don't
with
worry.
it.
No, don't worry. We've had enough debates, I think, to kind of keep us going.
I Anuj, before you ask that question, let me tell you, I am an insider now. I have been in this industry for 17 years. Okay,
Right.
so I have become an insider. I no longer I'm an outsider.
Wow.
Let's ask this question now from this
Okay,
perspective.
right. In what way do you think the digital front can sort of provide a middle ground now for talents across the board, regardless of who you are and what you do? I think Pavel will start with you this time.
Uh, as I said earlier, I think when the audience dictates what they want to see, and when you have a plethora, like a full bag of OTTs, and they want content, I think they are going to be there's an audience for everything now.
Hmm.
It's a huge audience, and then there's an audience for everyone. And now everybody, all these OTTs will have to make shows for each kind of audience.
Yeah.
And so if they want a star, they will get a show with the star. If they want really good actors, I'm not saying that our stars are not good actors. That's not what I meant completely. What I meant was, just the star power and, a newcomer, say a newcomer who's just arrived. And so I think there's going to be a market for everyone. There's just democracy. If that's the loose word I'm using in terms of
Yes.
the audience, but yeah, that's what I think. So when you have that, then you have opportunities for, I think, all kinds of entertainment, all kinds of shows, movies, and actors and technicians and writers and stuff like that.
Sure. No, absolutely. It's a demand and supply sort of effect at the end of the day, isn't it? Aditya, what about you? What's your opinion on this?
Let me remind you that you are an insider.
I am.
So answer this very, very carefully.
And therefore, I would love to hear the question properly before I venture forth. Yes.
Yeah, but Aditya is a talented insider, so it completely overrides it.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Right. So basically, yeah. So we're just talking about the whole insider-outsider debate, and how do you think the OTT can sort of provide a middle ground,
level platform, if you will?
Yeah, basically.
Well, I mean, I guess when you say insider, I mean, I guess I would qualify as that. Although yes, Namit's definition of an insider is way more palatable. But I mean, look, you get a lot of opportunities to, like, whether it's to meet people, whether it's to to audition because you happen to sort of have some sort of contact with them, they know of you at least, right? So nobody's going to, at least not in my case, I've never been auditioned or been sort of offered something that I didn't fit for because I was X or Y's son. But then at least they know of me, and if I fit for something, then then they can think of me. But that always helps here. Even with my writing stuff, I had the opportunity to have Ashutosh Gowarkar sir read my script, which is why he then hired me to write his screenplays, right? So there is that. There is no I mean, there's no beating around the bush with that. But like Pavail said, the platforms offer so many opportunities because there are so many different kinds of stories being told. And a lot of it is not, like he said, necessarily, driven by a name or anything of that sort. So, it just allows you to sort of, it gives people more opportunities. And then, sometimes how it works with your shows, and that is also, if you have sort of a big name director or a big name showrunner or a big name producer on board, maybe all the primary cast members that they want aren't quote unquote insiders, and then their power allows them to cast people that they want, whether it's, I mean, like, look at Scam 92. Yeah. I mean, we've heard so often in different interviews that the makers fought for the cast to be what it was, and that is, I guess, part of the effect of these platforms and the number of stories and the kinds of stories that are being told. So
yes, no, definitely, absolutely, spot on. Namit, what's your opinion on this as well?
I mean, I agree with Aditya on this, and I mean, एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ आपको. मैंने जब आर्या शो किया था, ओके, तब मतलब हमने कर लिया था क्योंकि एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, पैसे मिल रहे हैं, राम माधवानी जी के साथ जो है काम करने का मौका मिल रहा है, इतने अच्छे एक्टर्स हैं साथ में, and it was seeming like a very very different role, something which I had never done. So I just jumped into it and we did it. We had fun. But you won't believe the first thing that really struck me when the first image of Aarya came out was that they had put my face on the poster. And I was very excited about that. For me, trust me, I'll be very frank, Anuj, I was just very excited about the fact that there was a project that had come out and they had my face on the poster.
Right.
And cut to, Scam, a show like Scam, I saw the trailer and it immediately sort of interested me. The look interested me. These actors interested me. I wanted to know more about this world that was being offered. And I mean, this is the exciting part of 2020 and outsiders becoming insiders, truthfully.
Yes, very true. Very, very true. I think that's something I'll carry on that.
Although Anuj, I really feel very strange because I'm not going, I'm यार मैंने वेकअप सेट मतलब 10 साल पहले की थी यार.
I know.
आज भी मैं मॉर्निंग में जो है एक मीटिंग में गया तो दे सेड सर यू वर वेरी गुड इन वेकअप सेट. आई सेड मैंने भाई 10 साल हो गए उसको. बोले नहीं आप एज नहीं हुए. बोले नहीं मुझे एज होना है. मुझे बहुत समय बीत गया है. वेकअप सेट खत्म हो गया है. अब मैं बहुत कुछ करता हूँ. नेगेटिव रोल भी करता हूँ, पॉजिटिव भी करता हूँ, अच्छा गंदा सब करता हूँ. वो भी देखो ना यार, यू नो. बट एनीवे, बट ये आउटसाइडर इनसाइडर वैसे मुझे यार सच्ची में मैंने ये स्टेटमेंट तो कह दी, उसके बाद मेरी हालत खराब हो गई. लेकिन मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा यार, इट्स I think it's now it's about work and good work. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yes. And I think when we talk about good work, I think one of the titles that comes to my mind, as you mentioned, Adi, I think it was Scam 1992. You know, that was such a remarkable series. I mean, I think
what a show.
Yes, it's incredible. And I think I kind of moved into 2021 listening to the anthem thinking I'm some badass person, but I was stuck. So I think we've all kind of been addicted to that. But I think, Shreya, in what way do you think sort of the digital space can kind of provide a middle ground for talents now? And, you know, again, what's your thoughts on this whole outsiders becoming insiders sort of statement that Namit's just made?
So for me, because everybody has given a smattering of what I think, I will try and paint a picture. Because for me, I always used to look at it like a club, you know,
yes,
where the bouncers allowed only certain type of people. We were like stag entry allowed nahi hai, ye allowed nahi hai, couples allowed hai. So it, you know, it was always like that. I feel like with the entry of the digital space and OTTs, there are several backdoor entries that are available, and the bouncers are a lot more friendlier, you know. So the club is getting a little bigger. And there's a lot more room for everybody to dance.
Yeah.
So that is my very funny 2 cents on the thing.
Lovely. Okay. Okay. So that's okay. That's fine. I was just hoping that she'd say something.
I'm just like, theek hai.
Okay. I was like,
it's not going to provide that answer. Didn't provide you with a headline the way Namit said.
Yeah, he did. I didn't give him a headline. I called everybody like a dancer in a club.
Damn it.
You need too much context to explain the headline. You need too much context.
Yeah, Shreya thinks insiders and outsiders are all dancers.
Dancing to Scam 1992 theme song in a club, basically, whichever club that may be. But I think also what we can, I think another trend that I've realized from last year is that we've seen a lot of content which sort of addresses a lot of social issues. And I think beginning with the cinematic releases that we had at the beginning of the year, we had Chapak, which sort of talked about an acid attack survivor, and then obviously Thappad, which Pavail, I think we've discussed at length, you know, about the film and how important that movie is, I think, in our time. But there's always like, and I remember speaking with Tapsi actually straight after Thappad about this, and she did say that there's always an undue pressure on cinema to evoke a social change of some cause. What do you think people as a society can collectively do to sort of see a social change actually transpire within society rather than putting pressure on films?
A film like Chapak or Thappad is not made very often. And we also didn't know that it's going to be accepted the way it was accepted. We really thought it's going to be this niche film that people are not going to watch. Weirdly, people latched onto it and they really seemed to love it. And, you know, it started a debate, which was which kind of really made the film what it was. The debate in which me and Tapsi used to get messages about, you know, this is right, no, you were right, no, you were right, you were wrong. I think when that debate starts to happen, that conversation starts to happen, everything becomes better. But I really can't, I don't think I can or have answered the question of how the society will bring a change in what.
I think there is pressure on cinema to change the world, to change our reality. Like you said, you know, people always look to stories for inspiration, for motivation, for enlightenment, and then it becomes a sort of a conversation starter. it sort of snowballs into perhaps a movement if you are lucky. But sometimes you don't even know what has sort of factored into real societal change, I guess. So I don't think in that sense that there is any pressure on cinema to actually create change in the world.
I mean, I sort of agree with you and sort of not agree with you. I think the pressure is not on cinema and entertainment. I think the process is very natural. Coming back to what Shreya had said, the first time she watched a movie, and how and the experience of entering this space which is not your space, but it becomes your space while you're watching it. I think we all have sort of gone through that in our way. The first time we have witnessed a piece of theater, or we have witnessed a film, or a television serial, or a character that you start attaching yourself. So I don't think the pressure is on cinema and entertainment. I think the process is pretty much natural, and hence there is a certain amount of say responsibility on the makers front. I'm not saying that everyone needs to have a social cause, because entertainment is also important at the end of the day. But it's a strange sort of a relationship that it has with society. It's as society changes, the entertainment also changes. And the fact that we were hit with this calamity, we have also sort of now changed it into something else. We are constantly changing. The stories are changing because the people are changing. Our country is changing. So all of it is sort of running side by side without any pressure. I think it's sort of mutual that way. Yeah.
No, I completely agree to what Namit is saying, because I get that. That's exactly what I was alluding to when I was speaking about the magic of a shared experience, right? I mean, the pressure isn't on entertainment industry or cinema or whatever medium there is a story, but I think the responsibility is there, because there is nothing else that can capture your attention and your senses the way this can. I mean, you can cry, you can laugh, you can smile, you can think, oh shit, love exists, I'm not going to be single anymore. All of that shit happens because you watch stuff and you listen to something. It moves you in a way that there is nothing else that can move you. So when you have such a big canvas to tell your story, it's, again, that is up to you. I mean, that's your prerogative of what kind of story you want to tell. Thereby, how you're going to use your responsibility, it's just there. It's not that there is pressure specifically given. It's just implicit,
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was very well summarized by each of you as well, I think. So I was having a discussion actually with Supriya Pathak ma'am the other day, and we were talking a lot about the OTT contents that are emerging nowadays, and she's been quite keen and very impressed by some of the stuff that she's seen. But she's also said that there's a risk of it also going through what television went through, in a sense, like the sort of a success of a particular show and that being emulated and repeated, and sort of content being repetitive. What is your opinion on that?
This is a trend which it's a dangerous trend that has existed always. I mean, take the example of scam. The kind of things that have been coming to me, I can clearly see that they have been inspired by scam. And everyone is now talking about Gochi. Everyone is talking about money laundering. Everyone is talking about, किस तरह से पैसे जल्दी कमाते हैं और फिर वो जेल में जाता है. Now, लोग जो है इतिहास से जो है ना छोटे-छोटे incidents निकाल रहे हैं कि किस तरह से, we can create another scam somewhere, the show. I don't mean the scam. Yeah. So,
but also the scam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So ये तो entertainment trends तो होते ही हैं. This you can't run away from, कि एक कोई चीज popular होती है तो फिर उसके तरह की जो है ना 10 Xerox copies जो है ना वो खड़ी हो जाती हैं. But having said that, the OTT platform, I think, because the scope is so huge, because you have all these platforms which have so many shows which they have to serve the audience. I think this can be sort of in control. So you will have 10 scams which will come out after the success of the original scam, but yet you will have 20 other shows which which will be of which will belong to different genres, which will,
Yeah,
and it's
if you
just
look-
because there are so many other things which can exist
Yes,
on platforms.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, if you look at even the stuff that was popular, right, throughout the year, they're all different things, right? So of course there will be a trend, and there will be trend followers, but there will also be trend setters, as it is with any sort of art, or any sort of thing, right, in society. Now, if you look at Patal Lok, is very different from a Scam 92, but
Yeah.
both of them sort of have had their moments in the spotlight, very much so. And then later on, sort of this year, there'll be other shows as well, I think.
Definitely. Pavel, what's your opinion on this?
I think I agree with Namit. I think absolutely they're going to copy a lot of things. Everyone does that. It's human nature. It could be, if there's, it's like the fidget spinner thing. One fidget spinner came out, there were like 20,000 companies making those fidget
My
spinners.
God, I forgot that was a thing.
Yes.
How much
Yeah.
have we aged? Holy shit,
But
I
I hope-
completely forgot about that.
That's so 2019. Anyways. But I just hope, there's going to be, like Namit said, I've also received some scripts which had those scams involved. But I just hope they try to replicate the heart of these shows in the way that they were made, like when they were fighting for their cast, and the most honest way of telling the story, where there's no faltuka music there's scene happening, there's absolutely no music, which was lovely for a change to watch. So if you just, and I can imagine these makers going through a lot of ruckus with the channels of कि उनको ये डाल दो वो थोड़ा डाल दो, because half of them, I shouldn't say much more.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but they stuck to their guns. So if anybody wants to replicate anything, I think they should replicate the kind of heart they put into that show.
Yeah,
that'd be better. But of course, yes, there are going to be 20,000 more copies of Scam that will be coming.
It's more of a hope, because we have a bit of a remake problem.
all right.
I don't know why we do that. Whether we're remaking shows from Israel, or remaking films from the South, or shows directly from BBC. I don't know why we need to replicate something that has been a proven success in another culture, in another language, with people who are not like us, who don't look like us. So I don't understand why we need to do that. But I mean, taking the very spirit of Scam, the main tagline of Scam is like risk hai to ishq hai, right?
Yes.
That very concept we don't seem to embrace. We are like, okay, you take the risk, okay, we'll see it. If it's successful, we'll copy it. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand why we have this sort of a mentality, especially in this wonderful field where you can create all sorts of worlds. I hope, so mine is more rather like, it's a hope that there's so many stories. We have so many states, so many people, so many things to tell, so many different languages. Why would you look at West or some other nation that is completely different and has a different history and a culture from who we are? I don't get it. Even in terms of like casting, even in terms of like technicians behind, stop looking elsewhere. Yeah, there's talent here. There really is a lot of talent behind the scenes. There's a lot of talent in front of the camera where people look like the rest of the country. They're not the one odd person who has green eyes and white skin. That's the exception, not the rule. The rest of them look like us. We look this, it's just, and we have like a range of everything. Why wouldn't you tell our stories with people who look like us, to people who look like us? So it's more of a hope that, that there's so much more that we can mine, because there's gold here.
Definitely. Absolutely. And I also think, just sort of going back to what I said, it's a very supply and demand chain. That's the sort of basic fundamental goal of entertainment.
No, I think after a certain point, because we tend to blame the audiences sometimes. We put out trash and then say, nahi, audience ko yahi pasand hai. It's not true.
You know what?
It's not true.
This is it, Shreya. I was literally going to ask, actually, my next question was exactly about that. Is like, how does one actually know what the audience wants, because I feel like, social media is one medium, but how does one gauge or know what the audience wishes or to see? Namit, I would like to start with you with this one.
I remember my theatre director, Atul Kumar, when I started working with him, he gave me this golden mantra. and he said that, Namit, you might have a bad day or a good day in a show, but always remember that the audience is never wrong.
Hmm.
They are never wrong. Never take them for granted. They are very clever, and never undermine the fact that you exist because they want to see you, and and always guard this truth very, very close to yourself, because it's the connection that you will have with people which will always live longer. And in that sense, when certain things are sort of, when we are talking about scenes, when we are talking about certain projects, when you view certain projects and you see that they are taking the audience lightly, I
Hmm.
almost
Yeah.
feel hurt.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
almost feel hurt.
Same.
I feel like I feel like this is not why I am sitting here. This is not why I have paid so much money and want to be entertained, in a particular way.
Yes. Exactly.
So that, and there is always scope for the unsaid. There's always scope, because people are really clever, and this OTT revolution has actually proved
Hmm.
that projects like Scam or Thappad and it was already happening. And we keep saying that that the OTT revolution happened in 2020. Let me just go back 3
Hmm.
years back, okay, and see the films that have done well,
Yeah.
and you will see that the audience is picking up truth. They
Hmm.
are looking at things which ring true to them,
Hmm.
so there is obviously that big tamjam that exists, but
Yeah.
then there is a scope for truth to exist. And
Absolutely.
that is very important. That is essential, and that's the reason I feel I am in this profession, and that's the reason why all of us are. I feel that to
Yeah.
experience that and tell the audience also.
Hmm.
I think that is the key word, what Namit used. People identify when something is true and honest, and if there is another word that Pavel used, heart. If
Hmm.
these two things are there in your portrayal of either with the creation of the world or the story that you're trying to tell, the audience will find it. Yeah. I mean, if it's honest and true and it's made with that same intention, they will find it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say we can predict what the demand and supply is or what the audience craves and continuously give them a certain thing of how it's always been done.
Hmm.
But I think if you make something true, they will find you.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. I don't think, for me, I don't think you can gauge what people want. Because
Hmm.
अगर वो पता होता तो सारी पिक्चरें हिट होती या फिर सारी पिक्चरों के IMDb नंबर ज्यादा होते. I don't know. I really don't know. I just think again what Shreya and Namit said. If but there are sometimes when you made a film with a lot of heart and conviction, still doesn't do well. So you never know, actually.
Aditya. Okay, Aditya.
I'm kidding, yeah.
I mean, I couldn't put it better than the three of them did. I think it's very. I mean, and like Pavel added, no, it's sometimes you tell a story with complete honesty and truth, and then sometimes that doesn't work as well. But you can't do any better than that. The best you can do is tell your story truthfully.
Yes.
You know, as an actor, as a maker, whatever. Then it's out of your hands, yeah, boss. So of course there is some level of, because it's a piece of art that is meant for consumption, for widespread consumption. There is always some tweaking that has to be done. That's a given. Right now, how much tweaking has to be done? Whether what is the line between just sort of amending something or pandering to an audience? All those lines are very fluid,
Yeah.
right? But there is a degree of 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 craft that you would add to your truth, right? Whether it is even, I mean, one might argue even structuring your script in a particular way, maybe seen as pandering. But it's
Absolutely.
really it's the intention with which you approach it,
Yes.
and so I think, yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with all three of them, especially with what Pavel added at the end. Sometimes you can be very truthful, but sometimes it doesn't work.
I'm like, see, that's where Namit's bottles theory, that's where it comes in handy, because
Yeah.
even when we present something with honesty, it doesn't find the right bottle. Now we have it. So
Exactly.
and
that's where your marketing and all of that comes in, right? If you are telling a story of a particular kind, it's not like, I mean, like, I think Nasir sir had once said, he said, a person who is, say, maybe, riding a rickshaw 6 days a week, his life is hard anyway, right? Now, on his Sunday, he does not want to go and see a reflection of his life. He wants to escape.
He doesn't want to see a ship of Theseus.
Yeah, he doesn't want to see it. He wants to see something that,
aspirational.
Yes, exactly. Something aspirational, something that he can escape his world for 2 hours. Now, you might tell a story truthfully. You might tell your Masan and your Newton, both films, I mean, my favorite films of the past few years, you might be able to tell them with complete honesty, but it's not going to work for them, So it's just, it's a mix of everything. I don't think there is a very sort of clear answer to that.
I think on a final note, it's 2021, which means 2020 has gone, but the pandemic still continues. And I think this sort of shape-shifting change in entertainment is still ongoing as well. So what would you say are your ambitions and goals as actors now going forward amidst the new normal, so to speak? I mean, is there anything that we can kind of look out for with peeled eyes in terms of your future projects as well?
So I'm doing a film in February, then I'm going to start another film in April.
Yeah.
And there's one, I mean, these are the films that I was supposed to do last year, and now they're happening. So my aspiration is for them not to stop and for the films to happen, and I could be on set and nothing else comes in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the most humblest aspiration I have right now. It's for them to happen, and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, I think I've learned to live a little up since things are getting opened up a little bit. I just hope everything is now a little bit clearer and people a little nicer who I really thought were going to be after lockdown. After lockdown, I thought people are going to be much nicer. They're going to come out nicer people. Yeah. It was the opposite.
Yeah.
If you just go on Twitter, it was the opposite. I was like, oh my God, this is not the world I was hoping for.
I know.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's true. Aditya, what about you?
The same, yeah. I mean, there are a couple of things that we were meant to shoot for last year before the pandemic struck. So hopefully getting on the floors in February, March, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just hoping for good work to keep coming my way and to be able to do it, considering the pandemic. And yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's similar, but I would say that I'm lucky that the moment the lockdown was easing, I mean I got into a project and we shot that project during the lockdown actually in September, Aafat Ishq, and that film is releasing I think it'll be out in February.
Right.
So I'm very lucky that I was it's a very special project that way because it was a limited crew. They are not a big cast also, and we were able to shoot that, and most importantly we were able to complete it, because when we were going into it there were so many questions which were being asked, whether you want to do it and whether you can do it or not, but I think we were able to do it because we all wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the road from here onwards, is whether you want to do it or not. Trust me, because I have been traveling a lot in the last 2 months, and it's pretty scary. It's really scary because each time you take a flight and you sit next to someone, earlier you would be saying कि अच्छा यार कोई सुंदर लड़की बैठ जाए उसके साथ मैं कॉन्वर्सेशन करूंगा. अब मतलब आप अपने मास्क में सब जगहों से जो आप ढके रहते हो, and you are very scared कि मतलब कि भाई साहब ये so that
लड़की सुंदर है या नहीं?
Yeah, exactly. आंखें तो अच्छी हैं लेकिन चेहरा but all jokes apart, that fear is always there. So hope that sort of ends and we finally come out and we are part of a normal world. And each time, Anuj, someone tells me that, this is the new normal, I say, F off. भाई ये normal नहीं है, ये normal नहीं है, ये 1 साल चलेगा, 2 साल चलेगा, अच्छा 3 साल ले ले यार मेरी जिंदगी के, पर ये normal नहीं है भाई. This is not the normal.
उसके बाद यार, उसके बाद pollution की वजह से मास्क पहनना पड़ेगा, कुछ मतलब
नहीं. आदित्य तुम उसके बारे में स्क्रिप्ट लिखना यार, but सच्ची में on a serious note, seriously, I'm just waiting for to call people home, to just be with people, man, really. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's it actually.
Yeah, and I'm sure like it'll even give you guys more ability to sort of display your various talents as well. And Shreya, how's 2021 looking for you in terms of your goals, aspirations, future projects?
Well, honestly, my usual standard answer to a question like this would be some inappropriate joke on unemployment. But after a year that I've had because I realized that because we tend to get a little too consumed by the field that we are in, and where our identities and a lot of our things that shouldn't be wrapped up in this are, with esteem, with pride, with your attention, with stress, with everything. And after the year that we've all collectively had, I honestly hope to have a lot more fun, hope to do a lot more things that aren't just in one single lane, and life is so much more than that. I mean, apart from the magic that we are obviously attracted to in unison, but I just generally hope to have a lot more fun in a lot more lanes.
Yes, definitely. And I think on that note as well, I can definitely say that I'm really looking forward to seeing more work emerge from all of you. I think last year, you all have been fantastic with the works that you've displayed. Aditya, whether it's your debut, Namit, whether it's the amount of work that we've seen emerge from you in terms of like A Suitable Boy, Aarya, and many, many more.
Monsoon Wedding.
Yes, of course. And yes, we're looking forward to that, by the way, the production in London. I'm waiting for that. And Shreya, and also was outstanding. So congratulations. And Pavail, Thappad, as you know, I'm a huge fan of that film, and it was amazing to catch up with you then. But thank you to all of you for joining me for today's chat. You've been outstanding, and wishing you all the very best, and Happy New Year as well.
Happy New Year, Anuj.
Happy New Year, Anuj.
Thank you for having us, Anuj.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Lovely to meet you guys.
Bye. Take care.
Same here.
Bye.